Welcome, everyone, to Zesty's Best Bets, year of our Lord 2024. We are one day prior to the start of another NFL season. So we're recording this on a Wednesday. So tomorrow, when you're listening to this, you will be anxiously looking forward to Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson facing off, as well as some Friday fun in Brazil for the NFL. So the Eagles and somebody else are down in Brazil to go have a fun time. And we'll get into a few of the top matchups here. Again, just to reintroduce everybody, I am the anonymous betting public, representing the thoughts, feelings, and betting intentions of the vast majority of you. And we shall see if we can outwit, outsmart, and out winning percentage the Zest, who at the end of the year last year carried the year with a 58.5 win percentage, which, if you were $100 better over the season, would have put you significantly in the green. And had you just joined us for the end of the year, by God, you would have been in good shape, because the Zest finished on an absolute fucking heater through the NFL playoffs and college bowl season. So it was a great fun first year for all of us. We welcome back all of you. Zest, anything you'd like to say?
Football season. Thank you.
Enough said. Football season, it fucking is. And away we shall go. Speaking of football season, who will prevail in the land of Brazil, seeking all the help that they can get from our buddy Christ the Redeemer down there in Sao Paulo or Rio de Janeiro, more than likely? We have the Eagles at -2.5 against the Packers in Brazil on Friday night. Total from TMZ ESPN bet is currently at 49.5. Tell us what has the Eagles' wings flapping down there in Brazil.
Yeah. The look ahead line of June is actually -1, but nothing much has changed since then. So I'm a little curious on the Eagle money. I think a lot of it is one, they're not as bad as the finish. What did they finish 0-8 or 0-6 or something of that nature, and just completely fell off a cliff. The defense is better, and I do believe they're going to get back to the run game downtown. I mean, Jason Kelsey will be a loss, but they've had all uh, off season long to do this. It is unfortunate for them. Luckily, I'm not a Eagle fan, so F them. But they actually get a home game in Brazil, so that kind of proves them. The bigger play on this is the number. I do believe in Green Bay, but Green Bay is historically slower out of the gate, where the Eagles tend to get after it quicker. I think very highly of Green Bay. They are healthy. They've got a great young receiving core. Their problems, same thing every year. They spend money, they draft. What is this defense going to be like? You can assume that the Eagles' offense is going to be very efficient. Closer to the beginning of the year when they were, give me quick math here, but I think they were 10-2 or 8-2 or something like that to start the year. I think they are closer to that team than the team that absolutely just shit the bed and couldn't play defense whatsoever. The look ahead line looks better, but obviously there's money steaming now that it's 2.5. If it does get to 3, I would expect a buyback. Outside of that, I would say the Eagles are probably to play. Totals fun. Week one totals, they're so all these games, all we're not going to talk about. They've been on the board since June, so there's probably not going to be a lot of value now. Maybe you get closing line value, but week one it's going to be more of who is who, what is what. Are they as bad as we think? Are they better? And kind of adjust according to that. I trust the Eagles' talent more than I trust Green Bay's coaching staff because they are much better coaching staff.
That all makes sense. I definitely pick up what you're putting down there. I myself have been vastly disappointed in the organization that I choose to follow, the Dallas Cowboys, and their lack of attention to detail in the free agent season, particularly getting their hands on a running back, like maybe Saquon Barkley, who was available. But, whatever. Jerry, trust in Jerry. Nobody can fuck with him. Nobody can do what he's doing. So you can't say anything more there. The reason I would question this at 2.5, I don't have a significant problem with it. But if it gets up to 3, maybe the Packers end up being the pick, just because, like you said, we don't know exactly what we're going to get out of these two teams yet. They appear to be fairly even from a paper perspective, and it'll really come down to who has the better start out of the gate. I do think that the Packers could potentially attack the Eagles' weakness and stay away from allowing them to load up with their big guys up front. But we shall see, and we shall fly on to the next game, which is coming to us with the question of how real is the hype in Chicago? And featured in our slide for the day is the wonderful Caleb Williams and his fingernails when he played the Irish last year with the very appropriate fuck ND for the game, not to be one-upped by his Utah nails when he said fuck Utah on them. So Caleb Williams, very outspoken, very gregarious, but that is not the pick. It is the Titans at +4 against the Bears. Bears total is at 44.5 right now per TMZ ESPN bet. And what are we feeling here? No Bears love?
Yeah, kind of similar to the other game we just mentioned. Stuff. It's been one-sided communication-wise. All we've heard is the Bears, what they've done, Caleb Williams, all the hype. Tennessee just lost probably arguably their best running back in history. They haven't done much, but actually they've done well with the offense. They've got Calvin Ridley in there. They've got an offensive-minded head coach. They actually might want to win this year. 4 just seems like a high number with all the unknowns, especially Cam Williams never taking a snap in the NFL officially. Now, Will Levis has, and we've seen him, but I do think he's going to be a beneficiary of Callahan. And his father is the offensive line coach, and he's very well known as a czar of the offensive line. So I expect Tennessee to muster a run game together, but also be more effective defensively. The Bears finished about 500 against the spread last year without quarterback play, so they are a talented team. I just think the number here play more inside the key number and trying to put some blinders on the height as we would mention.
Yeah, I do like this pick. +4, I think is a great number. Like you said, you have Caleb Williams, who's getting all the attention. Titans flying under the radar. I think Levis, it's got to improve your 1-2. That's what they're going to be asking him to do. So if he can do that, keep the ball protected, and then they can rely on strong offensive line and running game, probably make this a very even matchup. And we'll see how Tennessee's defense holds up essentially against Williams and the weapons that the Bears brought in. So, luck to pick. We'll see how the Titans do. And it should be fun to watch young Caleb's debut. He's been waiting a long time for this. So, we'll see how hard the Bears are going to bear this year. Next question we have for week 1 is that if Zesty shaved, could he pass as Brian Daboll? No? Yes? That Daboll looks pretty happy. He's happy with this pick here with the Giants at plus 1.5 versus the Vikings. Vikings appear to be a team without a quarterback up there, which probably helps explain why the total of this game is creeping towards the 30s at 41.5. So, what the hell is going on over there in New York? Or Jersey, rather. Sorry, they are in New Jersey, despite what they call themselves.
So that is the Giants continue to win. They were still a 500 team against the spread without a quarterback. It might be better if they didn't have Daniel Jones, but go back into 2022, Daniel Jones actually played very well and he not overachieved. But this is not as bad of a team as one would think. Minnesota, very good offensive line. Again, you have Sam Darnold, and I really think he'll do fine in the system. I mean, Nick Mullins was able to put up numbers, but didn't translate to victories for Minnesota. They are very well coached defensively. The biggest thing that caught my eye with this was the line, and when I started looking into it a little more, it is difficult to travel week 1. But the Giants have had all offseason to plan for this, whether it was and vice versa, the Vikings did as well. But I think the Giants are sneaky good on defense, and they're going to be something on offense. And um, mostly this is with play on the line. I don't want to get caught fifthing looking at a less than a field goal with a road team. Obviously, I think the Giants went outright. I actually think they played pretty damn well and kind of touched all the Saquon uh, issues. And really made was you're probably going to go after 3 points at least.
Yeah, no, it's all fair. You look at the quarterbacks, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. I think if I'm pressed, probably taking Daniel Jones. I do think the Giants have brought in some decent playmakers, so we'll see if they can finally get a receiving core for him to throw to, unlike last year, which was a little bit of a weird environment to be in. Obviously, some coaching changes on the Giants side, so hopefully that settles up some things, maybe from a philosophical standpoint, a little more consistency across the board. Minnesota, though, if I was going to say why we would go against this, it would be due to their defense and the fact that they are so well coached, got some good talent over there. And then really you're just begging that old Darnold over there can find some run game, which will give him the opportunity to run some play action and find Jordan Jefferson over the middle a couple times, maybe Jordan Addison as well. So still got some guys up there in Minnesota that can play. We just really don't think anybody's going to be able to get them the ball. So play out the home, play on the dog here, plus 1.5, Giants over Vikings. And any thoughts on the total? I mean, if I was going to do anything, I might go under just because I have such little expectation of these offenses. But what do you think?
So we're at 41.5 there.
That's the current number. Yeah.
Yeah, gun in my head, I'd probably play with the play with the under, but it's very possible Daniel Jones throws as many touchdown passes to the Minnesota Vikings and the Giants. So they could play. Yeah, I don't see both these teams getting to the 20s. This kind of has a 21-17, 20-17, and we doing still good for me.
Nice. And our next question. No one works harder than Sean McVay. Am I lying? Have to have to put one dad joke into the pod, into the show. Because who is that lion? That's Dan the Man Campbell. That's no Sean McVay. Whoops. Plus 3.5. Our pick is not the Lions. It's the Rams. So we got the Rams with the 3 number plus a hook. And looking at a total at 50.5. So my terrible jokes aside, and we see that we are not getting, for some reason, there he is, the surprise lion, Matt Stafford, which is where you have the Rams at plus 3.5. Explain how the Rams can accomplish this goal.
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on the Rams this year. I think it seems every year it's health, but they are very well. Both teams are very well coached. There's just something about the Rams that seem to be tied together. They do have a good run game. The look ahead line was 3, so we did a little movement to the Lions. I would be very shocked if this game ended at a 3.5. I do think there would be a buyback. I definitely don't see it going to 4. Looking back to the 03, these were two of the best 3 against the spread. With the Lions being 14-6 against the number last year, but the Rams are right there, 11-6. I do think this is an opportunity for means of regression. And Detroit, same thing. Everybody's on that hype train. I just think the number, not necessarily the team, but the number is a little ambitious, especially week 1 against a very competent opponent. It would not shock me one bit if the Rams went in there and won outright and did convincingly so. Matt Stafford, he gets forgotten quite a bit, but they are still a very good offense. I know the Lions get a lot of love in relative, presumably so. I think it's going to be a tougher year for the Lions. I think that everybody's starling this year because they're so close. Typically, NFL wise, you end up having a bad year the following year playing a first place schedule, and it's a lot of games like this. You catch a very good opponent at home, which is a benefit, but it's indoors. The quarterback is very familiar with it. He's not going to be rattled from the invade. It's just 3.5 is too much. 3 could be a no play, but still, I think, as I mentioned, I think the Rams actually can win this game out.
All fair points. But damn, I love Jared Goff. He is a winner
There's
all
a
the
lot to
time.
like about both of these teams, but I like 3.5 better.
Yeah, no, I concur with you there if we're playing on the number, which we are, because that's how you fucking get your money back, folks. Don't ever forget that. Uh, don't have a problem with the play here at 3.5. I agree. If it's a 3, kind of feels a little wonky to me. Uh, would not trust the Lions. I also strangely have a little faith in the Rams for whatever reason. I thought they were a lot better last year than I expected. So interested to see how McVay has them improving through from this year to next. And Stafford, if he's back healthy, I think last year he had some arm trouble with the nerve issue. So if he's really back healthy and slinging it again, Nakua, Cooper Kupp still on the outside, got some weapons. I'd like to pick plus 3.5. The Rams going into Detroit. Now, of course, the counter argument is Sam Laporta is going to go off for 3 or 4 touchdowns. So that is a shameless fantasy bias plug, and we will feature more of those throughout the year. All right, we're going to continue moving on to the miscellaneous section. And featured in our miscellaneous section of NFL today, we have the Cowboys as a dog. They talk about the Cowboys so much. They must be good, right? But they're plus 2.5 against the Browns. What's going on up there in Cleveland?
Yeah, I wouldn't say confused. I think it's a different by subtraction, potentially. Tell Deshaun Watson actually shows he can still be an NFL quarterback. I can't really trust him as being a better above replacement because he has shown he is not a starting quarterback. I believe he is for all intents and purposes, but I believe he's like 23rd out of 32 teams. Now he's very highly paid at 23, but I don't I don't know if the shoulder's actually affecting it. Now in Dallas, can they run the ball? Zeke's early, so he hasn't been whatever mileage he has left. He'll be fine on week 1. But everybody talks about how good the Browns defense was. They were the highest scoring per average last year, which kind of surprised me. They had a lot of shootouts. They're a really good defensive team. It's right up Dallas Valley. Dallas defense, I don't expect anything near what they did last year, mostly because they played the Commanders and Giants for 4 games and it really inflated their numbers. They are still what they are. They're weak against the run. But once it's in a situational down and distance, they are very opportunistic. The injury to Bland really doesn't concern me either because he was a opportunist corner. He was not a shutdown corner. He would consistently get beat. But if you're going to get beat, you might as well have 6 picks and 6 touchdowns or whatever the hell he had that we even know who he is. So if you're going to do it, you might as well do it to the best of your abilities. I don't think that's going to affect the number too much. I think this is Cowboy 8. I kind of think they're the line. I would consider them on a teaser, getting up to 8.5 with some of these other teams. I don't know if I can back Cleveland as much as I want to see the Cowboys. So I think it's a 3. It won't stay at 3 very long.
Yeah, I mean, Cowboys fan here, so we know what's going to happen throughout the year. It's going to be sad, but we don't have to dwell on that. And we can go out to a place where there's a renewed sense of optimism, apparently, in Denver, with Bo Nix leading the charge, we think. We'll see what Sean Payton does officially, I guess, unless I've missed an announcement that is forthcoming. But you can let us know all about that because you are willing to take the Donkeys at +6 against the Sea Chickens.
Yeah, so Bo Nix was being the starter. This is a complete. I think it's going to be a rough year for them, mostly because of the division and the Raiders. As much flack as they get, uh, they were a very good scoring defense. I know we're not talking about the Raiders, but going into the Donkeys, I think it's going to be a struggled year when the team you're competing for to take last in the division is very comparable. This is sick points. This is not Uh, on the road, I mean, hell, Bo Nix, we played in Louisiana a handful of times. Guarantee you that's much more ruckus than the 12 cents they can be. I get it, first start, but 6 points is too much. They're gonna handcuff them. They're gonna schedule or put them on scheme. The defense isn't great, it isn't terrible, but Seattle's also working in a new coaching staff. They're working through King. Uh, Geno Smith, I'm higher on, but it's still Geno Smith. I mean, 6 points seems odd. I don't think a lot of people are going to jump in on the donkeys by any means, but I could see a whole hell of a lot of people doing a 6 point teaser with Seattle and that really wraps it. I could see the donkeys actually going in there and getting it outright. It could explain to me some of the line. I mean, I don't think the Broncos are as bad as everybody thinks. I don't think they're very good, but they're not 6 point dogs against Seattle.
I suppose we shall see. It's a lot of trust in Bo Nix, but also not exactly putting a whole lot of faith in Sea Chickens. Not sure what they have up there in Seattle this year, but see if it's any good. And now, first episode of the year, first double reverse jinx alert of the year. We have you taking the Buccaneers against the Commies at -3.5, which is just horseshit, right? There's no way you're taking Jaden Daniels. You're not taking Jaden Daniels going up against old boy Baker.
Yeah, so the line opened at 4.5 Tampa Bay in June. That was the look ahead line. All the way down to 3 as of I think 3 yesterday or something of that nature. I was looking and now it's back up to 3.5.
Shop,
Truthfully,
shop around, find the best line. Always good
yeah,
advice.
truthfully, I would not touch them at 3.5. I actually like the total on this game. It's 42.5, I think, or something of that nature. Mostly because Todd Bowles against rookie quarterbacks is just lights out. That's why we talked about the line a little bit. If it did get to 3, I would take Tampa Bay. 3.5, I probably ain't going to touch it. Yeah. Todd Bowles and that defense was a rookie quarterback. Spells disaster. I do think highly of the team. But again, I do think Todd Bowles is a long time beating some shit up. So we'll see how it goes. But as I said, I wouldn't touch it at 3.5. If I had to, 3.5 would be the side. 3, I would probably flirt with, but I do like the under because I think ultimately Washington is going to struggle a little bit coming out of the gate against that defense.
Yeah, if there's anything Todd Bowles and people of his ilk enjoy, it is a rookie quarterback to try and fuck with. So I imagine that there's going to be some pretty interesting sets from the Buccaneers on the defensive side of the ball. And we'll see if Jaden Daniels' athleticism from college that he demonstrated can translate over, which some people think he can. Others think that there's going to be a lot smaller gaps there for him. And more concerning, actually, I think for a lot of people that I've heard is the size of Jaden Daniels relative to the number of hits that he may take throughout the year. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Hopefully, he can make it through the year healthy. Nobody ever wants to see anybody go down. Even me as a Cowboys fan with the commies who might finish ahead of us in the division this year because we suck. But we'll fucking see. So we
As long as it
are.
gives us more years than RG3 did.
Oh, poor
Start.
RG3. Lost his job recently. Shout out. Hope if he's not a listener, he's a friend of the pod. I think we can say that. if he ever comes. All right. We are going to quickly move around to some college football around the horn. We are officially in week 2 of college football. There was a week 0 and a week 1 prior to our first recording. And what we have learned is that Florida State is goddamn embarrassing and not a whole lot else. There's just been some other games. Oh, Dabo, also embarrassing. Sorry, 2 things. We've learned 2 things. And we are going to first talk about the game that is probably the most interesting this week. So we're going to make sure we give you a little action here. And that is Michigan and Texas. Texas going all the way north to the big house. What do we see happening up there in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, about 35 hours ago, I was on them horns, but the more I think about it, 7.5, that's a little insulting to a Michigan team that has lost a lot. So I haven't really dove in 100%, but I do think Texas is a better team. Michigan did not put great film on, but also this is not the same team, but this is also the team that ran the ball every play in the second half against Penn State because they knew that's all it had to do was not beat themselves. Uh, It'll be interesting to see what the quarterback can do against Texas because Texas lost a lot too on the interior line. These are big programs. They're going to reload. It's just a matter of who the next guys are. 7.5, 7.5 at the big house. Man, they're fishing for bets. That might be one of the suckers, but 7.5's obviously the only good number if you bet. But it wins. But you're not going to bet the 7.5 for Texas. You want to wait to 7 if possible. And Michigan obviously want to get the hook at home. Might actually this might be one of the games I just enjoy to watch. Not bad, but that's a lot too. I will probably find some way to bet this game as it stands right now. I'm leaning Michigan, keeping it close, and I think they still have a very good defense, despite how good Texas is. I do think Texas is hopefully catching on. Key.
Yeah, that is a lot of energy to bring up to the big house for Texas to carry 7.5. I just don't know about all that. So my big concern with Michigan is, as you said, which is what the hell is their offense actually going to look like against somebody that can play defense this year? So we'll see what old apparently nasty ass Teron Moore has to say. He was revealed some really odd, interesting characteristics in some text messages between him and the Spygate individual. But that's neither here nor there. And just another fun college football story, of which there will be many. And the other college football line I wanted to hit on real quickly is Boise State against Oregon. It is up in Oregon, so we're not on the Smurf turf, unfortunately. But this game is at 18, and Oregon was 24-14 last week against fucking Idaho. So I just fail to understand how Boise State, much more solid team, solid program, doesn't find a way to cover up there in Oregon. What say ye?
I think those Vandals brought some potatoes from home and carbonated them ducks. Same thing. I'm not concerned with it. Yeah, they didn't play great tape. Um, they're still vastly superior to Boise. Even though Boise didn't really run away with it against Georgia Southern. I know Genty had 6 touchdowns and he did well, but it was still a shootout. Well, Florida State's already embarrassed me. Trying to think somebody's going to come back and put a good game together after they didn't really show out. I have a lot more faith in Oregon. Gabriel, I think he's an 18-year senior or some shit like that. He's played just about everywhere, seen everything. They're going to get it right. They've got athletes all over the place. This is not Sobrowski or whatever, Boise State there. They're not going to. They're a solid team. They're always fun, but they're much lower in the tier. Like I do expect Oregon to be trying to put their foot on them, make a statement game. I was going to look to see they play the following week or the week following to see if they actually put something on tape. But they might play the food a little bit, but ultimately, I don't see Boise State having the firepower with the 8 teams to actually keep up and give some more defense that is paper good. They have the athletes. I mean, we don't know until we know. But when do they play Ohio State? It's got to be relatively soon, right?
I
Is that
believe that
late?
is in October. That's part of the October 12th
Yeah,
Mega Saturday, I believe.
the greatest day in the world. So tell your wife, your family, anybody that plans to die, don't do it that day. You're going to be occupied by the television set. But I do see Oregon starting to, you know, ideally you'd like to see them be better against Idaho, but they probably win a very vanilla. You just want to get in and out of there as a scripted practice that I don't see any of them being very thrilled with. But I know everybody got out of there healthy. They got the victory. They did not cover, which we are fans of teams that cover. So yeah, it'll be
Yes.
interesting, but I don't really see Boise. It's either Oregon or no play. I don't see the 18 being an issue.
Yeah, that's fair. And as we should warn everyone, don't overreact early in the season. Things always come back to even out, and the books are just playing on that shit. So that'll wrap up the college football discussion. We are going to add one more. No, we're going to add one more.
We can't have a show and not talk about Leon.
Oh,
We got
that's
to talk about
right.
Neon in
That's
Nebraska.
right. We won't get any views if we don't talk about Prime.
So I was actually pretty impressed. Losing effort by Colorado. They still cannot stop the run. They still have a lot of issues. Um, their pass protection still is lacking a little bit of talent, a little bit of it, quarterback awareness. I know he might have only been sacked once, but it was clearly the quarterback's fault. I think he would own it. He just tried to make too much out of it and ended up breaking protection. This is more Nebraska. So I actually didn't watch the Nebraska game, but I'm always been a fan. I can't think of his name at the moment. Of their head coach. He
Matt
does
Rule.
build, yeah, Matt Rule. He builds programs since year 2. Last year, Colorado did beat them. Nebraska did not have a quarterback, and now they have a very highly touted freshman. Man, I want this game to be good. Brings me back to old school football. Colorado, Nebraska, both of them been pretty irrelevant for quite a while, but I don't know. I kind of like 7 with Colorado. I still don't think they're a great cover team, but they have some talent. If it is a shootout, it's probably one of the teams to be with. But Nebraska's definitely tougher, so they might just punch them in the face and grind the clock out, and it won't really matter. But it's so much funner when Dion is hockey and winning versus his little sad puppy dog. Oh, you gonna catch me now? So it's not an official bet, but I'm pulling for him. I want it to be interesting, and it's at night in Lincoln. Can't ask for much more because there's not much more on the slate. But
Uh, I can't wait for this game too. I'm surprised that I forgot about it there, but this is going to be interesting because I think you have a bit of a contrast in that Nebraska would really just like to run and grind the clock, like you said. But I do think that Shador and the Colorado offense can put some pressure on them, which is going to make Nebraska have to take some chances and let that young quarterback make some plays. Which you would think, oh, that's good. That's feeding right into Colorado's hands. You may make them one dimensional, and then they can play some D, and but they can't. So it could just be a really, really fun game to watch. So that's what I'm rooting for. Some big time plays from Rayola and Shadur. We'll see how old mini Patrick Mahomes versus Shador does, and hopefully it's a good game to watch.
Colorado definitely cannot play defense, and I don't think they're going to figure it out in a
They,
couple of years.
they're so bad. Oh, man. Well, good luck out there to all betters. We will be coming back to you next week. And just wanted to do a quick plug. We will drop the link in the video description and invite some key select folks here. We are going to be starting a newsletter as part of this year's show. And big reason for that is to try and keep the episodes short, quick, easy for you to digest, and then give you a little bit more detailed write-up as well as the full slate of picks in the newsletter. So we'll drop that link in there. Just throw your email up. We'll get you that out every week or on a more regular basis if we have some additional thoughts and want to put some more detailed write-ups together for you. So like, subscribe, let us know you hate us, love us. Obviously, we don't give a shit, but it helps the algorithm, fuckers. It helps the algorithm. So please like, subscribe, rate us, review us, and we will see you soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.